Oops, wrong camera. Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, the video today on this 2007 BMW 335 diesel. So is the chassis E90 and it's powered by a 3-liter twin turbo. So this particular car already had been looked at it by someone else. They couldn't quite figure out what's wrong with it, so they asked me if I could have a look at it. The guys that had a look at it was not the guys that brought me the car, but they were the ones that asked me to look at it, and the owner dropped me the car a few days ago. I've been doing nights, so I couldn't really do anything. But anyway, so here we are today, and we're going to try to look at this, see if we can figure out what's wrong, and hopefully get it repaired. So let me show what's the problem with this. Alright, so the problem with this is the following. Let me actually start this thing. So we have that warning there. So to start with, as you have seen, it looks like the battery is a little bit too low, but then this is our problem. So ABS, ESP lights are on. Forget about the rest, doesn't really matter. Typical, no fuel. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, as you've seen, guys, this thing really cranks slow. The car was parked here 3 days ago, and when I started up this morning to move it to here, the car was back there in front of the house. It really took a little bit to start, but it did start. But yeah, it looks like it would do with a new battery. Anyway, that's not what the car is here for. That's because of those two lights in there, ABS and ESP lights. So I think the first thing we're gonna have to do obviously is let's gonna give you a scan and see what it comes up with. Okay, so this is our first menu. Let's gonna go to diagnosis. Let's gonna go straight to control unit. It's gonna go, I think that's gonna be chassis, and that's gonna go to ABS DSC control unit, and diddy boom, and our issue is ooh, man, that's a lot of faults. That is a lot of faults. So adjustment DSC unit valves, then we have brake wear. Okay, what have I done? So then we have brake wear, forget about the brake wear, forget about that. Then we have hydraulic unit pump motor. Then we have hydraulic unit pump motor connector faulty. Okay, the first thing that comes to my mind is, will we have a separate power supply for the motor and for the hydraulic valves? Will this be a separate power supply from the power supply that powers the module, so the module boots up and we can actually communicate with it? Some cars, they do have that. I'm not 100% sure with this one, so we'll have to just go and have a look. And I think at this point, the first thing we're going to do is going to go quickly to live data, just see if we have anything here that okay, forget about that. Dynamic, no. Pressure sensors. Okay, the pressure sensors seem to be working. So when I press the brake, as you can see, they all go pretty much to the same value. When I take it off, they all come down to pretty much 0. So that's about right. Read physical, forget about that. Switch, that's it. Okay. pump motor and reset control unit. Okay, that's fine. Let's just check that the okay, what am I going to do? I think the first thing we're going to do, guys, is do a quick visual inspection. It's going to look around the engine, around the fuse box perhaps, make sure everything's good, and then we might gonna have to look at diagrams, try to understand what the DSC valves and the motor have in common perhaps. Yeah, so let's gonna go from there. There's no point to jump into conclusions here right now. Better to do some investigation first and then go from there. Okay, this is a little bit goldy and shiny. Right, so that's constantly running because I've disconnected the ABS module. So I looked at diagrams. Let me just put the phone here somewhere where we can actually see what I'm doing. So I unplugged the module and I've checked powers and grounds. So just to show you, so at the moment I have my test light connected to ground. So if I do there in the positive, I do have obviously light. Power supplies, there should be pin 1, which is that one in there, is the first pin here, so all good. We should have pin 32, which is the opposite pin, bang on. These two, I'm gonna guess is gonna be, if I recall correctly, is a 40 and a 25 amps or something like that. So I'm gonna guess that this is what feeds. One is gonna be the motor, the other one is gonna be probably the valves. And then we have pin 17, which is this first pin here, which is a 5 amp, which as you have seen there is power, which I'm gonna guess is the one that actually feeds the module itself, the electronics. And we do have communication with the module, so obviously we would have to have power there. But as you can see, there's 3 powers, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to move the test light, the alligator, to voltage, so we can just check the grounds. I already did, but just for the video purpose, the grounds are going to be these two here on the opposite side. And as you can see, everything is here. So, I'm not gonna lie, there's not much more we can really do. So I'm gonna guess, I need to plug in the pump again, the module again. So I'm gonna guess, guys, that this is going to be a module, faulty module. The motor and the valves, they are obviously all inside the module. They are all part of the module. The motor connects straight into the module. So this is going to be a module fault. So I'll have to speak. I don't know the owner. I mean, I know the owner, but when the guy actually dropped the car, well, I don't really know the owner. When he dropped the car, I was not at home. It was the missus that received the key. I don't really know the guy. I don't have the contact for the guy, so I'm going to ring the guys that asked me to have a look at this, and I'm going to tell them what I think it is, and then we'll go from there. If they want a unit, if they want whatever they want to do. But yeah, to me this sounds really like a unit problem. It can't really be anything else. We do have powers, grounds to the module. Again, the motor connects internally into the module, so if there is an issue with the motor or with the power to the motor, it's going to be internal. For the valves, same thing. The valves actually connected straight to the PCB, if I recall this correctly. They all work pretty much the same way, so which means it's going to be all internal into the module. We could probably open this module and try to have a look at it, just curiosity, but until I know what the guy wants to do, we're not going to do that, obviously. So just stay over there, I'll let you know how this is going to unfold. Okay, so just spoke with the guys. We have the go-ahead to fix this thing. So while I was waiting for a reply from the guys, I just been doing a couple little more checks and I would like to actually take you through this. So the first thing I would like to show you guys is that it looks like, and I might be wrong on this, but it looks like this unit is been already replaced. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you, but if I pull this up, let me see if I can. There is some. Okay, so oh, come on, the wipers are gonna go in a second, but can you see? See if I can pull the light in a way. Can you see all that blue writing there on the side? So I might be wrong, but I don't think that will be a BMW thingy. So it might be that this pump has been already replaced. And second thing I would like to show you is, obviously this is no original pipe, so someone replaced this pipe, maybe it was corroded, whatever. And the second thing is, can you see these marks in there? So someone has been hammering this unit. So I'm gonna guess probably they believed that the brushes on the motor are on their way, which I do tend to agree as well. Maybe we can just prove the point by giving a couple taps and see if we can get some changes on the car. But yeah, so we have to go ahead to get this fixed. Let me just put this back in. So I think we're gonna have to remove the pump and maybe see if we can repair it. If not, replace with a different one, I guess, with a second one, or whatever the guys want to do. So bear with me, let me see what is going to be the next step. Okay, so I was just here trying to replicate what someone already did before. Obviously I managed to actually do it. It's failing now. I managed to actually do it, and I did some footage, I record some stuff, and then I want to do it slightly different for the video. And now it looks like I got out of that motor everything that motor had to give, because I can't make it to work again. But basically, guys, when I managed to get that motor to actually run, so during this activation process, which now obviously if I do activate now, it fails. But basically, when it is actually successful, what happens basically is that the last two faults goes to absent, and I can actually so these last, okay, that's fine. So these last two codes, they go to absent. Then if I clear the codes, I'm left with these first three codes. Once I have this pump running properly, I should be able to get rid of this first one. This first one, guys, is basically, let me show you where we're going to be able to get rid of that first code. That's basically a calibration for the valves for the DSC system, and that's here where we're going to be able to get rid of that fault. As you can see in there, it tells you that no fault codes related to brake pressure sensor. We don't have a fault for that. Brake lamp switch, we don't have a fault for that. And valves. So basically, you can't have any of these faults except 5DD0 or or I guess 5DD2. We don't have the 5DD2, but we do have the 5DD0, which is for the calibration basically, or as it says in now, as it says on our fault, it says actually, it doesn't say calibration, it says valves adjustment or something along those lines. However, obviously, in order for us to be able to do this adjustment slash calibration, we're gonna have to have the motor running, because that's, I guess, that's how the unit is gonna, there we go. So I guess that's, although it doesn't say nothing about faults for this motor, I'm pretty sure that when you do the actually adjustment, that motor is going to have to run in order to build pressure into the brake system in order to activate the DSC pump, so that we're never going to be able to do that calibration. Plus, even if we manage to do that calibration, we would still have the problem with the pump, which obviously needs to be resolved in order for the ABS and DSC to work. So these two coats for the brake pad wear, I don't believe that's much of an issue. Might be sensors, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not worried about that. So I think the first step, guys, is going to be, we have to go ahead to fix it. So we're going to be taking the pump. We're going to see if we can take that motor out, figure out what's wrong with it, most like brushes, and then speak with the owner, see what he wants to do. If he wants to try to go to the route of repair, or if he wants to go through the route of actually replace the unit. I might do have spare motors, depends what type of motor this is. I do have a few spare pumps with that came with other issues, etc., and I do have some spare motors, I guess. So, but anyway, that's going already too far. We're not there yet, so let's gonna take this unit and take it to the bench and see what we're gonna do with it. Okay, first thing we done was drain the oil, which I already done. So there's no oil. I mean, there is a little bit right at the bottom, but there's nothing there now. It's empty. So when you take the pipes off, nothing's gonna leak. And the next step is gonna be quite straightforward, to be fair with you. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pipes. So we're just gonna undo all of them and move them out of the way. Unplug the unit, and then you have what? You have one bolt right there at the bottom. No, I'm lying. There's one bolt, one nut right there by the looks of it. So there's one nut right there. Then don't know if it's gonna have to be more somewhere. I'm gonna figure out where the other ones are. Oh, there's another one in there, just underneath the loom. And is there any more? Is there gonna be some other one somewhere? Maybe. There's one at the back, one there. I'm gonna guess there's gonna be another one, maybe. Don't know, not 100% sure. Maybe it will be just those two. I'll figure it out as I go along, and I'll let you know when the unit is out. Right, guys, so there is 3 nuts that you need to remove. So there is one here, right here. There is one right here, underneath the plug sort of, and then there's one right here in the corner. Okay, I'm using this ratchet spanner that has a opening in there, and then there's a ratchet. Okay, and then this goes around, and for you to take it again, you need to go all the way there again, and you take. But it's nice because you can get through the pipes like so, and then put it on the nuts. So it's really, it doesn't fit into all the situations, but when it does fit, it's really helpful. So now we're going to take all the pipes out and pull the unit out of here. Okay, and the unit is out of the car. And yes, this unit is 100% not from the car. I mean, it's from the car, but as you can see in there, there's all this. This is not a BMW stuff, marks, plus that engravement there on the body, as you can see in here. It's been kind of engraved. So yeah, so this is definitely has been already replaced. What we're going to do is, unfortunately, this pump is the one that kind of crimped in there. It's not bolted, which is a little bit of a crappy thing. Still, let's gonna take this motor out and see what we can do with it. Okay, I should have a little bit more light here, but it is what it is. Maybe with this. So there is several ways you can, some different techniques you can use to remove this motor. You can use a chisel and just cut through these little lips here on the side. I usually use this, and I just start to cut right there from the top all the way down, and then you break these little bit. So you just do it like this, like so, yeah, until you cut through. Once you do that, the motor it will come out. Okay, and the motor is out, and I have a 12 volts, maybe a little bit more than 12 volts on these wires. And as you can see, when I put voltage into this, nothing happens. So let's gonna give it a quick test. Still no good. Yeah, still no good. Yeah, it's definitely bad. Right, the motor is removed. I actually had a spare motor here. It's from a Ford, but I'm not sure what's wrong with it. It doesn't work either, so it might be that it has the exact same problem, maybe. I do have, where is it? I do have some spare pumps, as you can see. So this is actually from a Volkswagen. The motor is the same, doesn't really matter. And it says in there, I wrote in there, bad electronics. So I think is one of them that is faulty inside on the electronics, but all the rest is good. So I could easily take this motor and replace it. But I just wanted to have a quick look at this. And guys, so to open this, the first thing I've done is remove this seal that leaves right here around. When this is down there, it leaves right here. So you pull this seal out. And then with a couple of screwdrivers, you just, when this is in place, you just force this out. Yes, you're gonna break the tabs here. There is 4 tabs all the way around that holds into these little things here. You can take this without breaking the tabs by drill here. So you drill this indentation here. You drill that one, and you drill that one and that one. But then you don't have how to secure it back, so you'll have to seal this again later. So if we fix this, once this is all in place and all back into there, it holds itself, so you don't need to worry too much about it, to be honest with you. When you look at the brushes, I don't know, I'm going to show you this, but the brushes are actually good. You can see in there how much you still have left. Look there, you still have all of these here left. So they are just seized. So you have that one, and the second one is there. Again, the second one still has plenty to go. So this is just the brushes that got seized somehow. So yeah, they are definitely seizing. Look at this. I pulled them back. Look, you see? I pull it back and it just stays there. It doesn't go forward, you see? So we're gonna have to take these off, clean the rotor, take this bearing and try to see if we can fix this. So if we manage to make it to move freely, that should be alright. Okay, so bearing removed. Bearing removed, rotor removed, and what I've done here, guys, already, I will show you what I've done. So they are moving freely now. We're gonna have to clean all of this, but all I've done, and if you look carefully, you can see that this gap here now is wider at the back. So all I've done, I put a screwdriver here, and you force it a little bit open. So that's going to be sort of opening at the back. So that means it will never, because the gap now for the brush to run is bigger, it will not seize again. So as you can see, that's all I've done, and it's moving absolutely freely now. So we're gonna clean these because it's quite bad, okay, and then we're gonna assemble it back and give it a quick test, see how it runs. And a few minutes later, that's much better. Look at that. Okay, so now we are going to clean the tip of the brushes with a little bit of a well, to start with, there's a little bit of grease on them that came from the shaft when I took the bearing out, but we're gonna clean it with a little bit of a glass fiber pen, clean it properly, and then put it all back on. All back in place. Okay, that's gonna give you a test. The only thing missing is the rubber seal. So let's see what happens. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. And we have a fix. Quite happy with this. Yeah, definitely happy. Right, it's going to assemble all these back on. Figured out a way to hold these back in there and try it on the car. Okay, so everything is back in place and the unit is secured. I'll show you in a second. I just want to show you while he's on the vise, so I show you exactly how I've done it. So I put this on the vise like this, a little bit of wood so the pressure goes spreaded on this back, then here, and then with this thing and a mallet, well, a hammer. That's what I've done. Let me see if I can show you. So there we go. Let me see if I can just, oh, there we go. That's better. So as you can see, we just pushed that down again. Okay, and I just want to show you that is proper. I don't know if you're going to be able to see in there. Let me see if I can show. There we go. Can you see right there at the top? It's pushing everything down, so there is no pressure here already. The reason why I've used the vise is to obviously compress the seal underneath the motor against the block before I push these down. So when you push these down, so when you crimp these here sort of, everything stays in that place. So as you can see, it's all done, all four sides, and it was a little bit of hammering, which was a little bit scary, but obviously we're going to test everything before we connect the pump hydraulically. So we're just going to connect the plug and see what we have. Okay, pump is here, obviously just temporarily electrically connected, no pipes, no nothing, but that should be enough for us to give it a go at least and see what we have. So the Maxi C is charging, so let's just turn the ignition on. Okay, now let's come out. Let's just erase these codes. Okay, let's go back to codes, and as I kind of predicted, there we go. So the other two codes are gone. We only have that code. I'm keen, actually, look at that. The ABS light is already off, and we only have now the ESP, obviously because of the valves. I don't need to be here running the pump because, guys, you've seen it on the bench, the pump runs absolutely fine. So I think at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to start to put the pump back in. We'll have to obviously bleed all the brakes, etc., before we do anything. But we are in the right track, I think. So yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Is going to be put the pump, bleed the brakes, and then try to do this adjustment / calibration of the valves, which for that I'm pretty much sure I need to have the pump in place, obviously. So let's gonna do it. I'm just gonna put it back on and then we'll be back when that's done. And right, Mrs. was helping me out. Was actually not going too bad. Doing the last wheel, literally following the procedure on the Maxi Cs for bleeding the brakes. You start rear right, then rear left, then front right, and the last one is front left. And as I was doing that one, yeah, it happened. I haven't had one of these braking for a long time. I've tried to take it off in situ with a, hold on a second, yeah, with one of these that you go counterclockwise and it's like sort of in a like that, so it kind of grabs and twists, but this is too soft metal to do it. I really need to get a better light if I want to record in here. It's just one of these little bulbs. Anyway, guys, so yeah, I've tried with that, I've tried everything. Then I could not take the hose from the caliper. I had to actually take the hose at the back, which was a pain in the ass because everything is completely seized, so I couldn't just turn the sort of thingy on the pipe. I actually had to rotate the entire thing and the caliper at the same time. It was an absolutely nightmare. Just here then on the vise I managed to take the hose out. But yeah, I was just starting to drill it, so I'm gonna drill this, re-tap, and put another bleeder, and we'll go from there. Okay, and a few days later, we literally just finished it off. I ran out of time that day. So I just finished to bleed that brake, the front passenger side. So I had to do the routine with the ignition off. So the routine failed on the rear wheels and then on the driver's side front. And then when was about to do the front passenger side, I've turned the ignition on. Well, the missus did. She helped me out to bleed this last wheel. So she turned the ignition on. The bleeding routine went through activating the pump and the valve and all that good stuff. So that's completed now. And I think that's it for the bleeding the brakes. So we are left now with the, if I recall correctly, the adaptation of the valves or adjustment, whatever they call it. I think I'm going to move the Corsa so I can go for a quick drive, make sure it's braking okay, and then we'll try that adjustment. Battery is on charge. Obviously you need to do this with the ignition on. Plus this battery, to be fair, it seems a little bit weak to me. So that's about it really. So that's the only thing left now. So let's gonna get inside the car and carry on, see if we can finish this today. Okay, I went to the end of the road, just make sure it's braking okay. It's braking absolutely fine. ABS is kicking in okay, but we'll go for another drive at the end just to make sure if I have enough fuel, as you can see. But what we're going to do now is we're going to try to do this adjustment and see if that adjustment gets rid of our DSC light, and then we'll go from there. So this procedure, guys, is completely automatic up to now. It's just throwing loads of warning lights, as you can see, as it does the adjustments. You can hear the motor going on and off. You probably can't, but the motor that we repaired keeps going on and off. You can hear the valves kicking in. So you just follow the screen, no rocket science really. That's all you need to do. So okay, so now he's going to do other adjustments, so let's let it finish and then I'll come back when he's done. Okay, and literally finished about 5 seconds after the last clip, and as you can see, all the lights are gone, apart from the brake pads worn, etc, etc. That's something completely different, I guess, but I'm going to check just in case, because at least I didn't check the rear one, to be fair. But the front one seems okay. It doesn't go through the sensor yet, so maybe that just needs resetting, because once you let it go on the red, even if you put a new sensor or you fix the problem on these cars, I believe you need to go onto the OCB or whatever that is and do the reset for the pads. Anyway, the problem the car came with mainly is fixed, and that's a win. I will see what I can do more for this, and then we'll wrap up this video after a quick test drive. Okay, so I can't do the reset because there is a fault with the wear sensor circuits, rear and back, as you can see in there, 255%. But when you try to do it, it says the actual report saying there is a fault, and it does not allow you to do it until you rectify that fault. So either the sensors or the plugs, whatever. The front plug was all broken, to be fair, was all hanging up, and the clips that you press to plug the sensor were broken. I just put that back into that little box, but I was told by the guys that brought me the car that they want to do a brake job on these. I think there is a vibration and the braking, which I didn't detect, but I just went at the end of the road anyway. I'm gonna go now for a better drive and I'll see if I feel that vibration, but I was told that there is a small vibration, so I think the guy is gonna get discs and pads so they can sort that out when they do that. So that's it for now. Let's gonna go for a quick drive and see how the car brakes. see if everything is good, and then I'll wrap up this video. Okay, let's gonna quick test the traction control. So I have the rear left wheel is in a little bit of a gravel / grass, so I'm gonna try to accelerate a little bit hard and see if my traction control kicks in. So let's gonna do it. So come on, I don't wanna. So look at the thing in there. There we go. Yep, it worked. There we go. Traction control is good. Now I'm gonna test the ABS. I'm gonna test the ABS. Let me see if I can test it here. Maybe here. Yeah, you can feel down the pedal. So everything is working the way it should. Just need that sorted, and the car will be pretty much fault free. So obviously that warning light at the top is for the brake pads, and I better go home because I'm gonna leave the guy with no fuel to go back home. So that's it, guys. With no further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope there's some information here you find useful. If you do have any questions, any comments, put them below, and like always, thanks for watching.